Hi, I'm Aklara.
Namrohan Nahar.
Welcome to The Long Take. This week we're discussing the first part of Nishaanchi, directed and written by Anurag Kashyap. It's like a throwback to like Gangs of Wasseypur or to like himself in a way. It's also like really long. This is the first part as was revealed when the movie came out on the TV channel that is called Prime Video now with ads and stuff. I don't know what, do you have ads as well, Ron? Or was your...
I do. I refuse to give in.
Yeah, same. And a most annoying thing, I'm sorry you're like starting with this, but like this like programmatically done, right? It's like engineers have sat down and thought. So that's like the first ad is like 12 seconds, the second ad is 30 seconds, and third ad is like 1 minute, and the fourth ad is like 2 minutes. Like they know you've invested and you're gonna get to the end. So like they will be like, okay, we'll just keep you here now forever.
Yeah. It's unreal. Like 2 minute long ads is like criminal.
Yeah, it's like Star Gold, right? This is what used to happen. You used to watch movies on like TV, which I have not done in like 2 decades, I want to say. Maybe 2000s was the last time I watched a movie on like a TV channel. And
Hmm.
now these are TV channels. I refuse to call them streaming services anymore because if you show me this, I'm sorry. This is why we came to streaming, to escape TV.
Yeah. But if there was ever a Hindi movie TV channel star gold experience, I suppose it's this one.
Yeah, it is. Like literally felt like with the ads and stuff, I was basically back into the 2000s again with like the movies like Approach and everything as well.
Yeah, and that's when it's predominantly set,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's that too. Like that takes you back, and he's like doing such some mainstream stuff like in places which I did not expect of Kashyap. Like like that, especially when Bablu first falls for Rinku and he's looking at her through like a cobweb like gate or whatever window, and he like
Hmm.
they just go into like a song. I'm like, this is what Karan Johar would do.
But I wouldn't say it's any more mainstream than Gangs of Wasseypur, for instance. Like I think the
Sure.
level
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
heightened kind of Hindi cinema reality is
Mm.
basically the same. There are like a lot of like musical interludes. There
Mm-hmm.
isn't like a lip sync song,
Yeah.
but nearly there because we have like a Kavali sequence in which there is like jealousy unfolding in the background, the romantic stuff that you just
Yeah, yeah. Like,
mentioned.
and it's like meta stuff. I think the romantic stuff one, I think, is the only lip sync one where he's like dreaming about
Yeah.
romancing her. The other stuff, as you
Mm.
mentioned, yeah, is like all very like interlude and like
Yeah.
playing off on like Bollywood stuff. Like the first one is literally called Film Dekho, which is like the film is
Mhm.
starting. Then there's one
The
song made
opening
up of
credits
like,
one.
yeah, the opening credits one. And there's one made up of like other Bollywood movie titles, the entire song with the lyrics. Another is made up of like his Bablu's like attempt to learn English in juvenile jail.
Mm.
Yeah, but like it is also so many of them. It's almost like it is like as close as you get to like Hollywood's like imagining of how Bollywood looks like. Yeah, इनके movies में हर 3 मिनट गाना आता
3
है.
minute गाना आता है, but then there is like a subversion of that idea also, right? Because it's not like you said, like it's not like a Karan Johar movie. Like Rocky
Yeah,
Rani ki
yeah,
Prem Kahani or a Bhansali movie is what I would imagine white
yeah,
people
yeah, yeah.
think Bollywood, or more recently Rajamouli, right?
Mm.
Um,
But yeah, but in
but
every other sense, it's very different for sure.
yeah.
Because like I think I could not stand Bablu after a point. Like
Mm.
he is completely an anti-hero. Like there is no part of him which is like a protagonist or like it's not even in the it's not even like a gray thing. At one point, like, especially when he point blank just walks into like Rinku's house and shoots like in that flashback and just shoots the father dead without even like one dialogue said, right? It's just like, damn, walking done. I'm like, I'm sorry, but at this point, like he's the villain. Like this is how villains behave in movie. Like how are you supposed to like work with this character?
Now the issue is that I've seen part two, right? So in my head, I cannot tell what is part one and what is part two.
Yeah.
Like what scenes are so the killing of the father you're saying is part one, right?
It's part one, yeah. And I also like
And
that's my other issue, which we'll get to at some point, is that how the movie just feels like abruptly ending.
it ends abruptly. Although knowing that there was a part two because we watched it at home
Hmm.
when the information was already, or I guess
Yeah.
people in theaters know.
Yeah, I would have. I don't know how like, the movie ends the same way for people who enter the theaters, but like
Mm.
if I had money for this ticket and gone to the theater when there was no buzz, right? There was no reveal anyone at that point that this is a two-part
Uh-huh.
movie. It was just like a Nishaanchi. This is like a one-off thing,
Uh-huh.
and I'm guessing it did not say end of part one in theater or something. If it did, I would be like a slap in your face. I'm like, what? I
No, but then we would have also known that
Yeah,
it
because
did,
people would have
right?
like revealed कि like हाँ movie के
Yeah.
end में लिख के आ रहा है, which means that it was did not say that. It just ended on
Yeah.
Rinku taking like a bath to erase metaphorically whatever everything, and I was like,
Mm.
that would have been a terrible ending. Like it's an ending probably worse than the ending of like I don't know if you remember the ending of Spider-Man, like the last one, Across the Spider-Verse, the animated one.
I do not.
Right. So that movie literally ends in the middle of a scene. and they're like, we will
Hmm.
show you in the next movie, pick up from literally that same scene, they'll pick it up. When the movie was released, at that point, they said the next movie was 6 months away. That
Oh,
movie ko 3 saal ho chuke hain abhi, ya 2 saal. And the
oh
next one is
yeah,
apparently
yeah,
2
yeah.
more years away. Like, I'm sorry, but you
Acha.
cannot do this. So at least in that sense, this is better that, the movie released, what, 2 months ago in September in theaters.
Hmm.
So that's better. But like, if I had gone to the theater to watch this, I would have been aghast. I'm like, what? This is the ending? Like, what is happening after this? And when is it happening?
So here is my like take on the ending of the first part, right? Because I am going into it with the knowledge that Anurag Kashyap has struggled with endings for the entirety of his career.
Hmm.
Like he either has like 15 endings or he's just scrambling. Yeah, he's just scrambling for I don't know how to end this. So with that knowledge and with also the knowledge that this is part one, I was expecting like another one of those ke, acha, oh, we don't know what to do now.
Hmm.
So please tune in next week. That said, I thought that if you isolate the experience of watching this movie, and correct me if I'm wrong, the ending of this is when the mother goes to Ambika Prasad and says that we are leaving Kanpur, don't follow us, leave us alone, the house is yours,
And then
right?
uske वहाँ पे there are scenes. They come back home. Rinku
And then
finds
she
out
finds out
the
that
picture,
the
the
picture,
half-tone picture. So then she figures
which
out
is
that
okay,
Bablu is
so
the
huh.
killer.
So which is the conflict that had been kind of playing out in the background, that what if she finds out, right? And she does. And
Yeah,
when
but I
she
feel like
does,
emotionally, like Rinku has not
it's
been
a
the
very messy place to leave the movie in, and
yeah.
which I admire in and of itself, because not a lot of movies would choose to end on that note of that betrayal. And how do you move on from that betrayal?
And
Because in
especially
a
the
way
fact that the guy is gone, like he's been killed in jail, so there's no like closure here.
she has in a way kind of developed feelings for the
The
twin,
other
right,
one,
at
yeah,
this point.
yeah.
Yeah, so she is wrestling with a lot of complicated feelings, and I think that was quite an interesting way to end that movie. It doesn't necessarily wrap everything up, but then it kind of closes whatever loops that it had opened previously. Because for all we know, that's the end, right? Ambika Prasad will never bother them again. He has the house. They've escaped this hellhole Kanpur, and they will possibly live peacefully, but that is not to be, because they have to deal with this new information that
Hmm.
Rinku has kind of.
Yeah.
That's a decent kind of way to end the movie, I felt. That being said, second part may the ending of the second part, which we will discuss later,
Hmm.
is like the best ending that Kashyap has done like ever. Like it's a great ending. Like the
Okay.
climactic 40 minutes are incredible.
Hmm.
So, and completely different from this one, right? There is like that trademark kind of emotional complexity, but it is also very satisfying, which is just what you expect, because you want him to do like the mainstream masala stuff,
Hmm.
but then also to make it more complex than
Yeah,
the
which is like
actual
what he's
mainstream
known for, which
masala.
is what made him Kashyap, right? Like that's what made
Yeah.
him stand apart from other directors and not just like us. There are a
Mm,
lot of directors who do these movies of like they want to ape Kashyap and they want to do like
mm,
gangster dramas, but
mm.
this is what separates him is that he's able to add like depth to it and meaningful like emotional complexity to it.
Yeah. No, for the first time in a really long time, I thought that the story structure was so well defined. Like normally it's more of a mess than it is in this case. It is sprawling, but it's not like all over the place, right?
Hmm.
There is a very interesting kind of reverse chronological structure to this,
Yeah,
which
there's a origin story inside an origin story of like the current present timeline.
yeah, and the opening kind of bank heist is a very nice like way to kind of reel you in and then kind of tell you the story of how these two got
Yeah,
there.
and that point,
It's
like the scene, and what I love is about doing it that way is that when initially I'm just like, what is happening? What are these jokers, right? Like that's how you read the scene because you know nothing about them.
yeah,
But then when the same scene comes like 2 hours later or 2 or 15 minutes later, you feel it in a different way now because you know all of these people.
yeah.
And you're like, oh God, like don't do this. This is beyond your capabilities. You are so idiotic.
You are so idiotic, and see that's the thing which is which made Gangs of Wasseypur also interesting, right? You could
Yeah.
sense that Kashyap is making fun of these people. Like you are
Yeah,
such
yeah. Like I
idiots,
think that
all of you.
more than gangs, actually, what I love about this one is that like his take is essentially that most men are
Hmm.
like dumb or like useless or they're actively sabotaging and they're like harmful to everyone around them, right?
Including themselves, yeah.
Including themselves. And he drives that home on two levels, right? Because he does this through
Hmm.
Bablu, sure, but he also does it through Bablu's dad, like who had actual genuine potential. Like Bablu has no potential, per se. He'd always been a nothing person, like and always destined for
Hmm.
like this kind of thing. But Jabardast actually had a life, right? Like he had potential. He could have been something if you had not been like part of a system that was looking him over because of like whatever nepotism and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But then he sort of collapsed and like he went down a hole because of that negativity. Like he succumbed to his like inner thing, and he just like after that he destroys everything around him, right? For that one petty thing to take revenge on that guy who was not living, he destroys like his entire family for like generations now.
Yeah.
And then opposed to that, the women are the one who are actually keeping things together.
Which is the same, I guess, central theme of Gangs also,
Hmm.
right? Is like
Hmm.
one stupid act of vengeance can have such huge ripple effects for generations, right? And Vineet Kumar Singh is basically like flip side of the Mukkabaz character, right?
Yeah.
If he,
Yeah. If he went down a slippery slope and like could not reel
yeah,
himself in.
yeah. But also, there is like this, I can't help but make fun of these people, but then there is also a huge sense of like the sympathy for the devil, like a Martin
Yeah.
Scorsese sort of thing, where you're
Yeah.
like, these are the people, like, jinka, for instance, encounter ho jata hai road pe.
Hmm.
And you're like, oh, of course, encounter kar diya because police is insane in this country.
Yeah.
The guy was like a scapegoat, whatever, whatever, whatever. But like the journey to becoming the scapegoat in an encounter
Yeah.
is like a life lived, right? And
Yeah.
nobody tells those stories. And it's
Yeah.
not in the sense humanizing like criminals, but it's just sympathizing with them to a degree that, yeah, you have your life and there are
Yeah, they're
reasons.
all people, right? And, that's
Yeah.
what like it's, and that's the annoying thing about like even using the word encounter is that you just like you almost like reduce it to such a stupid level. It's just like an encounter. It's like, no, it's not that. There's so much
Mhm.
more to it. Like there are problems at every level. Like in
Oh,
this movie,
matlab,
obviously, like the police is a tertiary figure.
huh.
But like they're still seeing that how like it doesn't really matter, right? Like this is in a way it's like a godfather. The city is being run by these people. Whose
Yeah.
police are just hanging about to like give it a veneer of like legitimacy. But
Yeah.
they're just puppets.
It's a metaphor for India, right?
Yeah.
Because it is this, the whole story of India is just like, this is like his, I would say that this is his like Killers of the Flower Moon, right? Because you kind of encapsulate everything that is wrong with this country in terms of
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Because like, if this country was not like as patriarchal, if the society that movies were depicting is
mm,
not as patriarchal, if you just move the story like a few
mm,
states south, then Monica Banwa's character is the one who's ruling the world, right? Because she is actually has the one who's like the most sensible in terms of like her mindset, and who's also like the most accomplished. She's reduced to like
yeah.
a housewife.
I mean, just so there is a reason, I will say, why different actors play younger Bablu W and older Bablu W, and different actors play young Ambika Prasad and old Ambika Prasad, but the same actor plays the mom.
Basically, like this is like a thematic thing he's going for.
There is a reason for that, which you will appreciate in part two.
Yeah. Because here I was like aghast at. I was like, what is happening? Like, at least do change her makeup or like change her like hair, make her look older. Like, she
हाँ.
literally feels like she's ageless. Like, she's the angel in the movie or something.
मदर इंडिया है, वो बोलती भी है कि मैं
Yeah.
मदर, तो
And I mean, in the first one also, like, she has like such insane like espousing lines. Like, and one of them was really good. Couple of them, like the Ambika Prasad one when she like tells like people who were the worst coward one, like that was really good. And there's a line
Hmm.
before that which I'm forgetting now, but it's just like 10 seconds before that, which was so good.
No, that's what we spoke about, like what sets Kashyap apart from like the
Uh,
basically the pretenders is
yeah.
that, see, there is the complexity that he brings to like very old fashioned stories, but then there is
Mm,
also the writing, right? Like it's very
yeah.
difficult to mimic this.
Yeah.
Just it,
Moment
and
to
it
moment, it
feels,
is so like joyous.
it's rich, right? Because it feels
Yeah.
on the superficial level, so it's like, oh, authenticity add kar deta hai. Sure.
Hmm.
But then it's like almost literature level, right? Because you're
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
so
Like
like
that
I am,
line, I wanted to frame it. I was like, this is like, I want to capture these 10 seconds and then put it up as like a
uh
Tumblr post. I'm like, this is like a value to live by level.
and it's not like what's her name, who wrote Juno, where it's like so heightened that it calls
Hmm.
attention to itself.
Yeah.
Here it
Yeah.
feels both like realistic, but also like very
Hmm.
poetic, which is how a lot of people in North India talk, right?
Mm.
like a person who is well versed in Punjabi would really appreciate the kind of Punjabi that people just casually kind of drop, you know, and
Mm.
I cannot appreciate that, nor can I fully
Yeah.
appreciate this Hindi because I don't understand most of it. Like a lot of the
Yeah, yeah.
words I don't
The
understand,
dialect is so far that it is actually almost like a different language at this point.
but at least you can appreciate it, right? It's
Yes,
like
yes. Yeah.
appreciate, huh? So imagine like I mean, we get the emotion behind the lines, which is down to the
Mm.
acting, which we should also speak
Yeah.
about. Like uh, these guys are really good. Like the new kid is very good.
Yeah, and
Uh,
you're having to play like such different characters in
huh,
depending on the scene.
yeah, and for not for 1 second do you believe that he is the grandson of Bal Thackeray. What? Who probably grew
Who
up a very privileged
never
life in
thought of
Bombay.
that even for like 1 second.
Yeah, which is a great compliment, like, because he feels like a rando that you would, you know, see on the street. Like the kind
Yeah.
of dude you would walk away from if they were walking towards you. Like this guy, I might pick your pocket or like stab you or something.
Mm. Yeah. And
Um,
you buy him as both. That's the biggest thing, right? Like you buy him
yeah.
as the what you just spoke about, the pick about Bablu, but you also buy him as the Bichara sa Dablu.
Bichara sa W, which and see the thing is that outwardly the Bablu is a whatever. In the second part, they kind of make fun also of this that he's modeled
Hmm.
himself after like the South Indian like Yash or somebody or Animal. But basically he's like a wounded person who's just like who doesn't know right from wrong. He never learned.
Yeah. Yeah, you never learn, right? Like, and
Yeah.
they build that in, right? Like slowly. पहले he's like, हाँ W ने बोला तो मैंने bird को मार दिया. Like that's the thing, right? There
Mm.
is no built-in moral at any
Yeah.
stage.
So and in a way उसका arrested development है ना क्योंकि वो 8 साल की उम्र
Yeah.
पे रुक गया है.
Yeah.
He has
That's
not
right. That's so important to his story. That the fact that he's actually gone away for years, he doesn't
uh,
develop. Because he doesn't get, you
yeah.
don't get parental figures in a juvenile house, right?
Yeah, he's stuck at age 8 even as an adult. He doesn't know.
Yep.
Which is why he walks into that house and he shoots the guy without, like,
Yeah.
are you crazy? No, you're just a child with a toy. You don't know
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
and you already experienced the consequences and they want a big deal. So you don't even care about that.
It's
And
the same, right? Like at age 8, when he sent away, W telling him, उस bird को मारो, and he shot it down. And the dad saying, ये क्यों कर दिया? क्योंकि W ने बोला. At 10 years later, it's Ambika saying, उसको जाके handle करो. He's like, हाँ, कोई
correct.
handle कर दिया.
हाँ, तो वो
There is
grow
no
up ही नहीं
difference
हुआ
between
है.
the two things.
हाँ.
He's taking it as like, oh, इसने बोला, मैंने कर दिया, खत्म. मेरा
There's
कुछ,
a very
there's no filter in between of like my own self-thought, reflection, nothing in between.
which and there is a very interesting line. I think Rinku says, I don't know if it's in this part or the next, where she's like, "How
Hmm.
could the same person give birth to two
Yeah,
such
yeah, she
different?"
says it when she's lying with W, I think in this part, I think. She's like, तुम
Yeah,
दोनों same घर में कैसे पैदा हुए?
हाँ, वो नहीं पैदा हुए ना, वो सेम घर में पैदा हुए, but उनकी like
Yeah,
the
exactly. Because that's what a lot of movies do this, and I hate
Hmm.
it when they do the nature versus nurture battle, and they end
हाँ,
up doing on nature. कि तुम मेरे बेटे थे. Like people are a bit estranged, right? You know, like in horror movies, they will give birth. That kid will spend 30 years away from them, and turn up like them. And I'm like, no, it doesn't happen. It's all about nurture.
it's all about nurture, right? Yeah, and I mean this movie kind of exemplifies that, and
Yeah.
then and
Because W stayed with mom, and like the other one did not get that parental thing, and it
yeah,
separates them. The decade of that made them a
yeah.
different person.
What else? Is there anything else? I appreciate also that for once Anurag Kashyap is not being an activist or anything like that and just telling a story
Yeah.
and telling a story that
And
he
letting the
can.
story speak for itself, right? Like there are, if you just tell a good story, automatically it speaks about the society. You
Yeah.
don't need to hammer the thing in कि ये
The
देखो ये
story
नियल है
is
इसको
not
मार रहा हूँ मैं.
about, the primary thing of the story is not about, oh, look at toxic masculinity, but we'll get it.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. It's the same thing, right? The Godfather wasn't trying to talk about कि ये हो रहा है अमेरिका में. Like no,
Hmm.
you just tell a story, and through it, people will draw timeless and evergreen lessons forever.
Yeah. So, I mean, I thought this was great. I mean, I'm shocked that people, because they marketed it like fools. They should have
And
just said, here is the Gangs of Wasseypur that you've been waiting for. Please come watch.
yeah, sell it. Okay, this movie should have been sold like 6 months in advance, right? And I felt like it was sold a month in advance.
Month in
Like
advance.
this
Yeah,
should
yeah, yeah.
It should have, when it just went on the floors, now it should have been like, from the guy who made Gangs of Wasseypur comes another epic. Like sell it like that for like 3 years. Like that's how I look at that. That's the thing, right? Nolan doesn't just make great movies. Nolan's marketing team or whatever studio he works with, like they know how to sell his movies for years. Right? Like we know Odyssey is coming next July.
He makes so many, and at one point, he's juggling like
Yeah.
5 completed projects that दो रिलीज हुआ है, दो
Yeah.
नहीं हुआ है, पता नहीं, दिमाग ही खराब हो जाए. So I guess it makes sense to take it one at a time. But that being said, like, you need to kind of accurately understand your own movie instead of like selling it as some kind of throwback to old school Hindi. No, it's not. It's far, like, it's more
No.
complex. It's the movie that people expect from you. So own it. And watched in like as one whole film, like with part two, this is better than Gangs of Wasseypur. This is like a great achievement.
Yeah, but it's also, I think it's a travesty that they, even the release, like my this should not be happening. I hate that finally, again, like TV channel it is, but it's also a streaming service at the same time, because like one movie does not even get the proper like light out day. It should be standing on its own for at least a few
There
months.
is a subplot about an attempted assassination on UP ka chief minister in the second part, which might
Yeah,
have.
we will touch upon that and the rest of it next week. Okay, that's all. This episode of The Long Take. You can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Threads at The Long Take Pod. You can write to us at thelongtakepod@gmail.com. Please leave us a rating and a review wherever episode, and we will see you next week. Thanks next week. Bye.